Frustrating, isn't it? Hello and welcome to the weekly crypto review. I know I'm a day late and a dollar short. Had things to do yesterday, but we're running today. So, and honestly, I think we've got a better picture. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the charts. First off, as you can see, over the last week, Bitcoin's up just under 10%. I'm surprised. I am really surprised. I really expected it to go down much further than it did. We'll take a look at the weekly chart. We may still see a drop. I won't be surprised if we see a drop. I'll put it that way. Let's see here. Ethereum up 12.3. What else we got? Litecoin up 15.3. Litecoin is really surging. That's incredible. Chainlink is up 0.5%. Okay. It's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of this where, for example, Chainlink and ADA, Cardano. Chainlink's up 0.5%. ADA's down almost 5% for the week. We're going to see a lot of this. The altcoins, for the most part, are going to tend to follow Bitcoin, but not always. And I think a lot of it's going to depend on what each coin is doing. I know, for example, with ADA, they're in the process of rolling out Goguen, which is their smart contract language. I suspect that may have something to do with things. People are, I think, probably a little bit leery of can they do it and can they do it on time? We'll see. I'm hoping and kind of expect that as we get closer to the rollout of Goguen, that ADA's price will pump in anticipation. So if we take a look over here, look into Bitcoin profitable days. Literally, there are only 10 days that if you bought Bitcoin, you're currently underwater. If you bought on any of those 10 days, you're out of luck. You're the only fool who is in a negative. And I don't mean that derogatorily. It's just that we are so close to the all-time high at this point. And literally 99.7% of the days that Bitcoin has been around, you're profitable. That's pretty damn good. And we're going to see, as soon as we pass the all-time highs and Bitcoin starts its inevitable track up to its new highs, we're going to see, this is what it's going to look like. Nobody's going to be underwater. Nobody's going to be in the negative. Everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be positive. Everybody's going to be a genius because the prices are going up. If we look at the actual charts, you'll notice this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. You'll notice that the upper shadow goes up, doesn't quite touch that line at 19,986. The high was actually 19,956. So $30 below the all-time high. Depending on what exchange you look at, Coinbase, for example, actually shows we reached an all-time high. But depending on which exchange you're looking at, we did reach all-time highs this week, which is great. It's a little weird, but it's fantastic. Okay, so where to from here? Well, I know a lot of people who are watching this on a daily basis are feeling frustrated. And if we go to the daily chart, just pull this up a little bit, you can see what I mean. Okay, we came up here to what was the 13.5. I'm sorry, the 19,000 line, and we dropped back down. This is the drop I expected to see, but I expected it to drop all the way down, and it didn't. And then we started to work our way slowly up. Now we're just going sideways, and okay, we may do that for a couple of weeks. I suspect, and of course, I don't have a crystal ball, and as always, this is not financial advice. This is not investment advice. You need to do your own work. You need to do your own research. But looking at this chart, I see there are only three things that can happen. We either go up, we go down, or we go sideways. Those are the only three possibilities. And at this point, going sideways or going down are the most probable that I see. we had a massive run up. I mean, if you, again, let's look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart really shows it. We had a massive run up from 10,500 all the way up to where we're at now. In just a matter of a couple of months, we gained 10,000, just under $10,000 in 2 months. That's unheard of in anything. So, yeah, taking some time, resting, going sideways. I really did expect it to drop, but I suspect that the institutional buying, Grayscale and the other institutions that are buying more Bitcoin on a daily basis, they're buying more Bitcoin than is being mined on a daily basis ever since the last halving in May. So we are seeing a disparity in the amount of Bitcoin that is wanted and the amount of Bitcoin that is being made. And we're going to continue seeing this for the rest of the history of Bitcoin. From this point forward, I suspect that, with some exceptions, when we get to the top of the mountain, when we get to the top of the bull run, suddenly everybody's going to sell. Well, at that point, there will be a glut of Bitcoin because nobody will want to buy it because the price is dropping. And it's going to drop 80, 85% like it always does. And that's fine. But then as we continue, as we get to the bottom, when we bottom out and the smart money starts looking at it and saying, okay, I think that the price is good. I think we have a good price here. And they'll start buying it in as much as they can, as quickly as they can, and it'll start bringing that price right back up. That's the nature of markets. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm really surprised because, again, the nature of markets is you hit the all-time high, which is where we're at now, and you drop because either the people who have been holding on to their bags for the last 3 years are going, okay, I'm finally at a point where I'm broken even, maybe even made a little profit. I can let it go and sell. Although I suspect that anybody who's held on to their bags for the last 3 years in Bitcoin is probably smart enough to realize that's not the best option. It's going to be interesting watching how this market matures and how it goes along. Bitcoin, crypto in general, Bitcoin in specific, will surprise you. It will do things you don't expect. And that's one of the dangers and one of the thrills of investing in and trading the cryptocurrency markets is it doesn't act like every other market. So where we go from here? Well, I suspect, looking at our daily chart here, and if you look at it, there are three things that I've got here. I've got the price chart with the volume. Well, volume's going down, so not a whole lot is happening. That's to be expected. We've got our MACD, which is on the negative, and it's not really, the lines here are not looking to cross. They're running parallel, so we're in a holding position. And our RSI, we're down below 80, down below 70, so we're not specifically in an overbought state, but we're not necessarily in a place where I would consider it comfortable. And the same thing goes for the weekly. If we look at the weekly, we've got the price, we've got the volume. Volume is actually, on a weekly basis, is actually doing pretty good. But, because of all of this growth, we're showing growth on the MACD. We're showing a divergence down here. This looks really good on the weekly chart, and we are way oversold. We're at 84.01 on the RSI. So we're way oversold, or I'm sorry, way overbought. To me, that would indicate a sell-off. That's typically how this works. We're not yet seeing it, but we've got this spinning top from last week. That is a potential reversal sign. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen right away. Could happen a candle or two later. And we've got this shadow up at the top. We've got this nice flat bottom, a shaved bottom is what they call that. There's no shadow there, which means that the price started there and went up. It went all the way up and then it's dropped about halfway back down. So it hasn't had a chance to drop any further. But this candle here is showing me that bulls are not in they're not in control enough to keep the price going way up, because that upper shadow, a long upper shadow, tells me that the bears may take charge, not in the long run, in the short run, a few weeks. We'll see what happens. I think we're going to go sideways or we're going to go down. Again, only for a few weeks. The beginning of the year, January, February. I think once we start heading down, I think people are going to, the weak hands are going to jump out and they're going to lose faith in Bitcoin. It bit me again, but we'll see. Anyway, that's what I've got for you this week. We'll talk to you next week. Remember, don't trust, verify.